Hi again. 30 Years of Watchtower slave William Schnell in his chapter Establishing a Worldwide Theocracy. Now he talks about the theocratic ministry course of the early 40s. Assuming then Solomon's toga, the new Watchtower Society was dedicated to the building an educational program. The educational program was almost forced upon them. The Society's program of indoctrination, by which she had brainwashed Jehovah's Witnesses, had always had a negative purpose. It had been designed to eradicate former concepts and to annihilate individual thinking, and to replace these with static Watchtower concepts and theocratic mindedness. This theocratic mindedness proved satisfactory when employed within the narrow confines of the theocracy, or in house-to-house work of proselyting. However, glaring inadequacies showed up when Jehovah's Witnesses were pitted against educated men in Christendom who knew their Bible and had a comprehensive understanding of the truth. Here, as I see it, the ministers of the gospel in Christendom made a serious error when dealing with Jehovah's Witnesses in the early stages of the organization's development. Instead of standing up to each and every one of them as they invaded their parishioners' homes and detonating their practices of buying and selling before they became legalized, and their doctrines and thinking before it became standardized, these ministers allowed them to continue unmolested. That they could have stopped the organization in its track was evidenced when young Jehovah's Witnesses appeared before examination boards to defend their claims of being ministers or conscientious objectors to escape military service. I repeat what I have said before. Their ignorance was appalling. That is, the JW's ignorance in those early decades. I was thoroughly ashamed of them. Once in Cleveland, one of the members of the examination board remarked, "You claim to be a minister, and you can't even find Deuteronomy," for which for a fact this young man could not find. But such occurrences multiplied by the thousands alerted the society that they did, and then let me read that again. But such occurrences, multiplied by the thousands, alerted the society, and they decided to eliminate this condition. Because of this lack, the theocratic ministry course was born. We generally associated the ministry with Scripture and preaching of the Word. Therefore, we might logically expect the ministry course to have something to do with Bible truth. Such, however, is not the case. It is instead a systematic course of advanced training in theocratic truth and the uses of the various forms of argumentation. An hour a week was set aside for this ministry course, and to this day it is a definite part of the curriculum of the weekly service meeting. To conduct this course, mature brethren were appointed school servants. Now he starts to talk about the Gilead Bible College. In the middle 30s, the society had purchased a large farm in upstate South Lansing, New York, in order to meet their own food requirements. The society ran a large dairy farm also. The farm was a highly successful enterprise and fed the Bethel family well. Surpluses such as cheese and butter were to be sold to New York brethren. They fondly called it kingdom cheese, and as a result got top price for it. But the production of cheese and bologna was not the only value of that farm. In the early 40s, the fear of war was rife. War appeared inevitable. For this reason, the society decided to build a large building on the site of the farm. For this, and for all else that they ever attempted, they had a major and a minor objective. First of all, they planned to use this building as headquarters if Bethel and Brooklyn should be bombed out in the impending war. Second, it was to be used as a Bible college to train missionaries for foreign work when that became feasible. When it became evident that the war would not touch our shores and thus incapacitate Bethel and Brooklyn, the society decided to go ahead with the building of the Watchtower College, which it named Gilead Bible College. There would be place for its graduates at once, since hundreds of new companies, that is congregations, were being organized throughout the land. Thus, together with the inauguration of the theocratic ministry course in the field, began the Watchtower Society educational program. Mature Jehovah's Witnesses, all full-time servants, were called in, and the first 6 months course began at Gilead. Those graduating received a diploma. Many were sent into small towns to build up companies. Others were appointed servants to the brethren, which service had taken the place of the zone servant, or exactors. Next time he talks about the worldwide missionary work developing during this same wartime period and being built, of course, most manifestly after World War II was over. I'll put in a link to testing our biblical literacy, because as he's making the point here, the society had to work on its own internal education because of the embarrassing fact that Christendom's ministers knew even Christians, lay people, tended to know their Bibles far better than the Jehovah's Witnesses of the 1930s. So testing our biblical literacy, link on your screen. See you next time.